All right, you know what time it is? I'm going to show you guys how to make this, and then we're going to give it away, so stay tuned. Welcome back. We're going to make a nice little pouch, and the pouch is going to be designed to carry a little pint. So this is what we chose to make it out of today, is a piece of beaver fur from a nice beaver I harvested. We're also going to use a piece of buckskin for the backing of the pouch, and also the flap, and also the fringe for the wick. And then also we're going to use a nice piece of moose leather for the strap, a little thicker grade and definitely durable. Tools you need is a Sharpie, tape measure, razor knife, pair of scissors, some thread. We're going to use today some synthetic wax sinew. It's really durable, waterproof. I like it a lot. And I'm also going to use an S needle. The first step we're going to do is the first pattern that we're going to cut out would be out of the fur, which is going to be the front of the pouch. And that measurement is 5 inches wide by 7 inches long. And that holds pretty much all of a pint. I've stuffed all different kinds of pints in there over the years, so I know that should work for the majority. So anyways, we'll flip the hide over and trace out with the Sharpie a 5 by 7 inch rectangle, and then we cut it out with the razor knife. We have a 5 by 7 rectangle, and now we're going to move on to a piece of the buckskin. So this, like I said, the fur is the front, the buckskin is going to go to the back, and then wrap around for the flap. So we need at least 12 inches, 5 by 12, usually works. So let me lay that out and we'll cut that out. Okay, there's our leather, and it's 5 inches wide, and we made it extra long. We just took the strip of the piece we were cutting. And if you have an irregular piece on the end, you always can leave that for the flap. I always like it irregular shaped anyways, no two are the same. So from the shortest portion to there, I went 13 inches. And that'll stay long. And then the next section, I cut 7 inches, and that's because that's how tall our pouch is going to be with the fur. And those are going to be the fringe on each side of the pouch. So I just cut that 7 inch, and I just cut it right in half. And then this was the tailing piece, and that's going to be our bottom piece. It's still 5 inches wide, so it'll cover the bottom. And that length you can use whatever you want. And how I like doing it is I will put these on and line this one corner. That's the most important as of right now. And just make sure that we're staying on the seam, and all of these 3 corners line up. So we got the main piece of leather, the side piece, and the tail piece. And then I'll take and I'll just put the needle right on through. Make sure it's right where you want it. Okay. Don't pull it all the way through yet. But I took a pretty good bite of my first stitch. And then make sure you have your fur running the right way. And then you can see where you came out in the center of this corner. So just take your fur and pop this out in the same spot as where yours is. And my fur usually ends up being just slightly bigger, and I take a bigger grab of the fur. It's just not as strong. And then I'll just put it through that loop for now. And cinch her tight. Work the mat. Okay, then make sure that, here's that flap, throw that tail flap out of the way. We just needed the one bite in there to get her going. And now when this is nice prime beaver, so the prime hair is really thick. Just roll the fur to the inside the best you can. And now you just want to take these two pieces of the leather, which is the main piece, and the fringe, and then we're just going to sew it all the way up. So you just take a bite, and I'm going about 3/8 of an inch, 1/4 inch. And just work it tight, trying to keep tucking this in. You pull fur through just from the string passing through it. But anyways, we need this tail sticking out because we'll tie that to the bottom once we get there. But anyways, you can see how I'm going. I'm going to continue on. So I'll sew this side up, and then I'll show you. All right, here's the one side sewn. As you can see, there's the flap. Here's the bottom, which is just tacked at the corner. And then we have this seam. That's the back of the bag. That's going to be the flange. And like I said, now the suede's going to face the fur side, which I wanted. So let me line all the corners up again on this side, and we'll start sewing again. What I want to do is make sure these corners are perfectly lined up. Grab the third corner, perfectly lined up. Go from the bottom through so we can grab the fur on the way out. Push it through, pull it, but even your string out. Okay, now you're just going to see where you came through on the corner. I don't know if you can see that. It came through, but now when you roll your fur over, we're going to want to go to the same spot where that is, so that'll all line up. Okay, pull that through. And there we go. And now remember to tuck your tail piece, just fold it over to the side we just sewn, just to keep it out of the way. Now roll the fur in, pinch the two pieces of leather together, and then we're going to sew up this side, and I'll show you as soon as we're done what that looks like. All right, we got the two sides sewn up, and now we got to tuck this bottom back in. Now that we have it ready, so you're just going to kind of stick your hands in and kind of work that bottom flap, try to get it flattened down again. And then also at the same time, our side flaps, now we have to get them out of the way, which are these side flaps here. If you can see them, but there's the two ends. So what I do is I usually just roll the ends back. I don't know if it's hard. It's really hard to see, but if you just fold the corner over to itself like you're wrapping a present and just get them to the bottom of the bag the best you can. And then that'll leave you with this bottom piece of leather. And the fur. And because this is the end of the fur, you know, with the grain, so the fur really sticks over. So this one's a little bit frustrating, but if you just work it, pull it out, wrap this down, and then just get these 2 pieces of leather and sew that up. So anyways, we're gonna start on the corner, and then I'll tie those together when we're done, and we're gonna sew this across. So give me a minute. All right, guys, we just finished all 3 sides. Here's our flap. So next thing to do is roll it inside out, just like a sock. And you can grab that tail end, pull it out, pull these corners a little bit, work them a little bit. Kind of similar to making gloves, but as you can see, that's almost like a mitten without the thumb. I make some sweet mittens too, but anyway, now the next thing to do is we are gonna cut our flange. So all we're gonna do with that is, all our fringe. So we lay it out on a board, roll this fur back, and you get it as close as you can to the seam, and then you just strip it down all the way down. Do this side, and then the tail. So we're gonna do that, and I'll be right back. Anyways, keep cutting the flange. You wanna make sure you don't cut your seam, but you wanna get it pretty close. Like I said, this is actually functionable, so that the closer you get it, will really wick the moisture out of the inside of the pouch. So it is actually important. There's our flange. That's what it used to be. That's what it is now. So we'll do this side.
We'll do the same thing at the bottom.
Okay, now what you want to do is slide your bottle in, and you can make it for your main bottle or whatever you like, but they're pretty much fit the majority of the bottles. You can always alter it by just cutting this flap. If it happened to be a shorter neck or a taller neck, you just cut it up a little bit, but this should handle the majority. But anyways, you want to slide your bottle in, and then just pinch, or you can make a dot. And that's where we want to end the cut. So we're going to cut it from this point down to the base of the neck. So we'll take our bottle back out, slides in and out. Okay, and now I like to cut a little triangle. And then straight line from that mark right to the base of the fur. And then what I do is I like to make, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll make it a triangle. So I just go about a 1/2 inch, about a 1/2 inch, 5/8 on this side, 1/2 inch and 5/8 on this side, and then I go from that point to that point and make a little triangle. There's a little triangle we cut out of that. Flip around so it ain't as awkward. And then there's a triangle for that. So then when your bottle, you can see the cut. We'll clean that up, but you can see the cut. And then that just pulls over the top. And that keeps it in. You really don't have to have a flap. But then there we go so far. Once you're comfortable with the size of your flap, which I like to keep it right here. I think that's pretty good. It's leather, so it can stretch a little bit. But if you happen to have a taller neck bottle that you're gonna end up using, you just cut this up a little bit. And as long as you get it right to the base, and that alone, it can't come out, because what it does is it just stops itself. It hangs up, so you don't really need a button. A button's almost just for looks. If we were making a regular pouch, I would definitely put a button on it. But this locks itself, and that's the only thing in the bag, so we're golden on that. And we're gonna fringe this pretty long. Now what I normally do is I'll leave like a portion like this around the hole that I'll stop the fringe to here. So we're gonna fringe it, it'll be a little bit shorter and then back up. And that just gives you some meat around the flap itself. Plus if you end up putting a button in, you got a place to do it. So anyways, let me cut this out. Like I said, I'll work down to a V, and I'll work down to a V.
Now I'm at the low point, bring it around, and we can start coming back up a little bit. Okay, and you can see it goes just like that.
So then that looks pretty good. I like it. Okay, next, what we'll do is we're gonna make the strap, and we're gonna find a nice long section of leather off this moose hide and cut about a 1/2 inch, 5/8 inch wide strap off a long piece. And when we cut it, once we get to each end, you want to flare the end out a little bit because we're going to split that so we can attach it to our bag and tie it. So about the last 4 to 5 inches you want on each side, you just want to flare it out a little bit so you can double up. All right, now you're going to want to split the ends, and then you want to take each end and take a little triangle off to bring it down to a point so it's easier to feed through a little hole. And you want to do that on both ends. And what we end up doing is we feed it through, and then we'll tie it off on each side of the pouch, and then there's our strap. So that's pretty simple. And this moose leather is extremely strong, durable. I've used this stuff for years. I use it on my pack frame. The knots come in and out easy. It's durable. I absolutely love it. Okay, but anyways, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna put a small incision right on the inside of the hide here, and right on the inside here, just each side of that seam, and then we're just gonna feed this through it and then tie it off. and you want to go in through the back and just feed the one side all the way through and then tie it off. So let me make these cuts. Like I said, just roll it out, and then when you make your cut, don't make it vertical on your bag, make it horizontal so it don't keep trying to work the cut open. So I just make a cut right here, and it don't have to be big. And then just make sure you don't cut your seam. Then come over here and cut a piece and go down so you have some meat on the fur and on the hide a little bit. All right, so we got a little incision there, incision there. Same thing on this side. Make sure you're not cutting through nothing else. Okay, simple as that. And then just gonna feed this through. You can see a small incision here. And I use this just to poke it through. Pull that through all the way till it bottoms out here. And then continue the same piece through the bag and then out the fur side. Bring that through, and then you just use the other side and just tie a simple knot. And that's one side of the strap, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So bear with me. Okay, next, we'll use this cut off of the needle with what thread is left. And normally I like to, I'll enclose this seam right here. It just prevents it from ripping any more, which I've never actually had one rip out, but I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger for you guys just in case. And then we're gonna go just underneath it. But to attach some beads is pretty simple. I just go through it and come up back through it. Okay. Leave that long. And then I'll just loop it one more time, just cross over. Cross over. And you can do that a couple times, a little more for decoration. But that's all we're gonna do for this. I think this is gonna be perfect. And I have to apologize on the beads. Usually I have a wicked assortment, but I am beat it out. So maybe the next project. Thread you some beads on there. I think we'll go 3 and 2. So we'll go 3. Okay, now what you do now is you put your bead on, go back through, okay, and I just enclosed it. And you can do that once or twice. Normally I do it once. This one I'm gonna just do twice. It's easy while you still got the needle on there. Then pull that up. I cut my needle off, and then when I tie this on, you just make a loop, And then you go through your loop a few times. And that'll prevent it from unraveling. This stuff is also waxed. And slide that up, slide that down, bring this back up. There you go. Slide this beads back up. Okay. Now this side we got to do just by hand. This side we're just going to put on 2. Yeah, I just went through and I made I made quite a few of these to give out. I made me, let me see. Yeah, I think we're gonna do just, you know what, let's do that. But then I made me another gathering bag out of moose leather. Put this on. Go through that. I usually go around 3 times, at least twice. Okay, I leave these longs, but I'll trim it off maybe about 1 inch or so. All right, guys, and there we go. Just a neat little bag with a purpose. Worked out pretty good. All right. Well, that was a fun little project. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, leave me a comment. Today's comment's gonna count. We are gonna raffle this off by the comments, so everybody leave a comment. You can leave as many as you like, but only one's gonna count. And on the next upcoming video, we will randomly draw a name and give this baby away and get it shipped right out. Unfortunately, that comes with no alcohol, so you guys are free to put in whatever you like. So anyways, hopefully you enjoyed it. Came out really nice. So anyways, till our next adventure, we'll see you guys around.